Look at the stars, look how they shine for you, and all the things you do. Hi guys, this is Jason Zach from Nathaniel School of Music. In this lesson, we are going to do a song breakdown of this incredible Coldplay song called Yellow, one of their greatest songs and one of the greatest songs ever written if you look at music history. Instead of focusing on the entire song with all the chords, all the inversions, the melody, the guitar line, the different sections, the vocal transcription and the drums and everything else, I thought we'll focus on 5 of the things which you really need to know. And it took me a while also when I first heard the song, more than a decade ago probably, yeah. So when I first heard the song, I thought, oh, it's one of those 4-chord songs, But if you think about it, there is a lot of things you can learn and a lot of things which do not make it a 4-chord song. The traditional pam 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 pam, or one of those those 4-chord movements or those 3-chord movements which most of the pop artists of today, like, you know who they are. Pretty much everyone on Spotify will end up using. So here are the 5 things which I'd like to present to you which make this song Yellow by Coldplay absolutely incredible. And we have some supplementary material which will help you on our Patreon page, which contain the exact chord voicings which I'm talking about, the structural analysis, the chords basically, the intervals, and whatever I talk about in this lesson will be handwritten in my notes and you'll get it as a PDF file on our Patreon page. You might want to get yourself a copy, pause the video, get it, and it'll help you with the lesson. And also it'll be great if you could hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon for regular notifications. Let's start. So the first point I'd like to convey to you is the structure of the verse. It's absolutely incredible. So it's 6 rounds or 6 bars, then another 6 bars, and then another 8 bars, and then it goes into the bridge. It's absolutely incredible. It's not something I thought of. In fact, I used to get this wrong while playing it around with people. So just to put that into a nutshell, look at the stars, look how they shine for you. So let's count that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Second bar. Look how they shine for you. Third bar. Fourth bar, and everything you do. Fifth bar, 6, and it was all yellow. I came along. So at the 7th bar, you think, oh, it's going to go to the 8th bar after the 7th bar, but it ends at 6 cycles. So let's do that again. So it's B major, pretty much B major. I'm going to talk about how he colors up the chords even further, but for explanation's sake, B major. So B major, they shine for you. F sharp major again, you do. E major or E major 7, E major 7th and twice, and B, back to B again. And he says, I came along, I wrote a song for you. Let's do that again in context. I'm going to play each chord 4 times with the pulse, so 4 times of each chord will be signifying 1 bar of music. And it's B major twice, F sharp major, which is the 5 chord, twice, and then E major, which is the 4 chord, played again twice. And then it loops. The whole thing happens again. And then the 3rd time, we give a stray bar for the guitar player to do something incredible, which I'll walk you through. So, look at the stars, 2. Look how they shine for you. Change to F sharp. 2nd time. And everything you do. E major. E major 7th twice. And the door yellow. I can't. Instead of waiting, they were all yellow. We don't wait there. Instead, yeah, they were all yellow. I came along. And he immediately starts singing. So let me do the entire verse just to put things into context. Look at the stars. Look how they shine F sharp twice. And everything you do, E, played twice. Yeah, they were all yellow. I came along immediately. I wrote a song for you. F sharp. Repeat F sharp. And all the things you do. And it was called Yellow. So then I took my turn. Oh, what a thing to have done. And it was all yellow. And then it goes to Your Skin, the pre-chorus. You have to count your chords in simple words. It's not 4/4. There's no songwriting law which Coldplay are using. It's just what they want. They just want a chord to be longer, or they want a melody to just be shorter. They want the new line to just start immediately. It is following a perfect form, but it's their own form. It's very unique and incredible to Coldplay. So in a nutshell, the verse is 6 rounds, then another 6 of bars, and then we do 8, and then it goes into the next part. So moving on to the next unique thing which you need to know about this song. We call them as add chords or chord extensions, or sometimes even jazz tensions. So even though the chords which you may find printed on Google, which will keep saying B major, F sharp major, E major, that is not how they play it. And in some cases, 2 guitar players are playing different voicings of the same chord, and each player is adding different extensions. So let me just try from my memory of the song what exactly is being added, and I've put it in the notes for you to check. So B major is not played as B, D sharp, F sharp. It's played as B, D sharp, E, F sharp. So what do we call that? We call that as a B major add 4. You could even call it as a B sus4, but then if you say sus4, you're removing the major third. That's the concept. So we prefer to call it as B major or B add 4. There we go. So, look at the stars, look how they shine for you. Not normal F sharp, it's F sharp major 6th. We don't say F sharp major add 6 or something like that. We just have a name for it. We call it F sharp 6th or F sharp major 6th. F sharp, A sharp, C sharp. You get that nice color there. So almost every chord has an added color. So look at the stars, adding the E. Look how they shine for you. Now adding the D sharp or E flat over the F sharp major chord. And all the things you do. Now, you have an E major normal, but we are adding the major 7th, and if I'm hearing it right, it's in this beautiful voicing. It's not the traditional E major 7th. It feels like that. Feels like the 7 and the octave are very close to each other. And if you take the 7 and the root together, almost sound horrible, but the other notes color them up and add to the beauty. So that's your third chord, E major, and they were all yellow, and then come back to your, and it pretty much goes on even for the remaining part. And your skin, that's E major 7th, and your skin. And then we do a G sharp minor 7th. That's G sharp minor with a minor 7. Skin and bones. Again, that adds 6. And you know. That's your, this cluster, E major 7th cluster. And you know. Minor 7, G sharp. So pretty much every chord has a color, has some kind of a different way of playing it, and I just refer to them sometimes when I'm talking to musicians and students as Coldplay chords, because only they play chords like this. Very few pop musicians, I've not heard anyone really playing these added clusters of chords where different musicians play in a different way, so to speak. No one reads a chord chart and says, let's just play B major. No. How do we play B major? How do we play F sharp major? That is the question which Coldplay clearly asks themselves, and hence it sounds so thick and beautiful. So, that's about add chords. See my chart for the entire breakdown of the add chords. So moving on to point number 3, I'd like to drift away from the structure and the harmony and talk a bit about the melody. If you observe, a lot of the times when you hear the song, the higher notes are sung in falsetto, or the head voice, so to speak, because it's very tough to sing. Even for me, as I was trying my level best, it was very tricky to hit those notes because of the jump, because of the skips of intervals which Coldplay use, which is an almost forgotten art in pop or rock songwriting. Most of the melodies these days, are just singular or very close in nature. The range of the vocals is very small. It could just be 2 to 3 notes, like that's pretty much pop music. Or lot of pop music has that melodic structure, but Coldplay, especially not at the verse, because at the verse he goes na 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 na. There are not too many skips. What I mean by a skip is, if you take the B major scale, which is the scale of the song, if I go from B to C sharp, it's not called a skip. It's called a stepwise motion. While if I go up a third, that's called a skip or a leap. So now you're moving in third intervallic motion. That's your thirds. So traditionally when artists skip, they skip in thirds. For example, that's what the verse does in Coldplay. And now the intervals slowly get wider. Look at the stars, look how they shine for you, for you. That's down a perfect fourth. For you and everything you do, you do. That's a fifth down. You do, and it was all yellow. Now a descending third. So there's always these unpredictable jumps or skips, if you want to call it that. There's a third leap, there's a fourth leap, and then there's a fifth leap. And then the fourths go down, the fifths go down, they also go up in the next part or the bridge. And your skin is not even a fifth, it's a bigger jump. That's a sixth. And your skin. It's very tough for me to sing that. And your. Very tough. So it shows that this is a huge leap. And your skin. And your skin and bone. And then he makes the interval smaller. And your skin and makes it even more smaller, a third. So it's sixth. And your sixth. And then a fifth, your skin and bone, and then ends with a third. Even though those notes don't have anything to do with the chords, he's choosing a lot of color tones or non-chordal tones while singing the melody. That's also something you need to observe. And your skin, that's a C, and that's a perfect fifth, and bone, a major third, so major sixth, perfect fifth, major third in the key of B. So major third, B, D sharp, B, F sharp, perfect fifth, B, G sharp, which is a major sixth. So a lot of jumps. So it makes it a very rememberable melody, almost uncopyable. An important tip if you want to get something out of what I'm saying, songwriting or a melody writing tip would be, write melodies with skips if you want them to be rememberable. Don't write them with... And then you just have rhythm to make it very interesting. Not really interesting, but you get the idea. So moving on, there's another couple more things which I'd like to share about this incredible song. So it's what I'm calling melodic chords. Melodic chords. Doesn't really make sense, but that's how the chords seem to be in this song. The guitarist, there's no keyboard player in the song from what I can hear, but when the guitarist is playing the chords, it's always moving like another counter melody to the existing melody, which is sung by the vocalist, right? So there are a lot of instances of this melodic chordal playing by the guitar player. One important instance is in the pre-chorus where he goes, "In your skin and bones." So the melody you hear at the top end, what he's trying to project, and he's changing these chords also at irregular intervals. So in this case, it's E major, G sharp minor, F sharp. So because he shifts to F sharp slightly, I guess, earlier, it would appear very melodic in nature. So E major with a G sharp on the top. He makes sure that note is ringing. So 3 and 4 and. So at the end of the 3, we drop down to the F sharp major. So E major, G sharp, F sharp, and repeat. So that's one occurrence. Another incredible occurrence is between the verse and the pre-chorus also. The guitar is something very simple but catchy. At the point, and it was all yellow. So he plays the major third of the B major chord. So he creates a kind of a suspension there. B major, otherwise B major is going to sound very boring for like 8 counts or a lot of bars, right? So he suspends that. And then back to that pre-chorus. And 4, and so the change is there. And then at the instrumental part, the guitarist goes crazy. So the guitarist at the instrumental part plays something even more melodic. After the bridge is over or after the pre-chorus is over, he goes the same verse chords, B, F sharp, E, and B. And he plays something like, the highlighted notes are okay. So let me walk you through that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. So let's walk you through that in terms of the hit points where the notes melodically move. And through and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And so he does a bar of the F sharp over B major. Then he comes down to the sus4, which the rest of the band is already playing with that voicing. So, but he shifts to the E, not at the next start. He doesn't do no, it's not 8/8. It's 1 6 7 8 9 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. There's 9 plus 7. So again, these irregular shifts of chords or irregular shifts of a harmonic movement is what makes it melodic in nature. So and same thing he does with the F sharp. And then for the E chord, while the rest of the band is playing an E major 7, the guitar player decides to play an E major 6th. and he does this beautiful bluesy bend, which I have no clue about singing, but I'll try. He does something like it sounds beautiful. Don't listen to me, listen to the actual song. You'll find it at the third chord of the bridge of the song. So, and then back to B. So some fabulous guitar playing. It's not a guy playing really fast and shredding away, but some beautiful, well thought of songwriting guitar based playing. It's purely to serve the song. So I have one more incredible part of the song which I wanted to share with you, and since we've come to the end of the lesson, I'm going to share the end of the song. So the end of the song has pretty much the same chords, but he leaves you hanging in the balance with a very interesting shift of mood. So he goes something like, look at the stars, look how they shine for you. What's that now? So instead of playing the traditional F sharp major or F sharp major sixth, which is what they do an F sharp minor seventh, which is completely alien to the scale. It's not part of B major scale. It's a 5 minor. So where does this come from? Look at the stars, look how they shine for you. It comes from the what we call as a parallel scale. This is what we call as the parallel Mixolydian scale. The Mixolydian scale is a major scale with the altered 7 instead of the natural normal major 7. This is, so you get that very pensive, brave kind of song. So you get that very pensive, brave kind of sound which they reserve for the end. And we've done a lot of tutorials on the Mixolydian mode and a lot of Mixolydian chord progressions. I've even covered a couple of Beatles songs which are on, the Beatles use the Mixolydian mode a lot. So do check it out. We'll leave a few videos in the description. So, look at the stars, look how they shine for you. That's the 5 minor. And all the things you do. And the song ends there. Okay, so it's a 3-line ending. Look at the stars, look how they shine for you. That's your F sharp minor 7th. Beautiful chord, and all the things you do. Okay, so that's the ending of the song. They borrow the 5th chord from the Mixolydian mode. The 5th chord in the Mixolydian will be minor and not major. Right, guys? So these are what I thought were the 5 important things for me when I started diving into yellow a bit more. I hope you found the lesson useful. I hope you use some of these highlighted topics in this lecture to compose your own song. And look at a few important things which Coldplay have done. One is they've not cared much about the rules of songwriting, and there were never books on songwriting back in the day. And the back in the day was literally the 90s, you know. The books have been very YouTube era onwards. So there were never books on how to write a song. There are no rules there. There are rules of music theory, which a lot of people tend to avoid and then go straight into the rules of songwriting, which I think is rather weird. So you need to focus on the theory. In fact, everything I told you in this lesson was a matter of theory. What is the chord? What is the degree? How long was each chord? How many bars? So I'm talking only theory, whether it was rhythmic, whether it was melodic, or whether it was harmonic. So I would suggest learn your theory first. The theory is almost like giving you a backpack with all the tools you need for an incredible Amazon jungle adventure, where if you don't take that backpack, there's nothing much you can do in the Amazon jungle. All you can do is just be safe or stay in one place, because there's so many creatures out there which may want to eat your head off. So a good suggestion would be to learn your theory and then understand what the great artists of this era and the previous eras have done, study exactly what they've done, and become a better musician, right? And do consider heading over to our Patreon for some of the supplementary resources, not only for this lesson, including stuff we've done in the past as well. Thanks again for watching. This is Jason from Nathaniel, and don't forget to subscribe if you like the lesson. There's also a comment option. You can leave us a comment and suggest stuff which you'd like to learn in the future. And there's a like button somewhere there. There's a bell icon somewhere there. All of those buttons do a lot of great things for the world of our YouTube channel. Thank you.